Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everyone. Abdul Halim. Abdul Halim and Alamazin, please write your ID number in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Write your ID number in the chat.
Uh, okay, wait 1 minute, please.
Sure.
Set
Yes, Alamazin.
2000.
You could write in the chat so that I can see directly in the chat of the meeting. So if you write it there, I'll see the whole ID.
Okay, sir.
And I have seen you trying to join like the last week or so. When did you arrive? Oh, sorry, not arrive. When did you got enrolled or got the message that you got enrolled? Alamanzil and Hadaroni, please write your IDs in the chat, okay?
What's that?
Write your ID in the chat. Okay, Alzin, you don't need to write in the chat. Instead, just tell me your ID. Just tell me. Alamanzil, just tell me your ID. I can spell it out. Okay, nice. You have written it in the chat. That would do.
Said I have type ID.
Yes, I have seen that. Very well done. You are like a bit irregular for the last week. From like after the Eid vacation, try to be regular in your classes, okay? And about the instructions for those who have come later are given in the Google Classroom as a classroom post. Who just joined, where you can get your materials, where you can get your lab materials and things like that. Please try to cover up the topics that I have taught till now. Okay, Hadarone, I got your ID, and that's also true for your Hadarone. So try to cover up what you missed in now, and try to be attentive and regular in your classes from after the Eid. Anyways, let us begin today's class. So, yeah. I think my screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in the previous class, we have covered logical expressions, and then we have seen the if statement. All of this inside the selection statements or selection controls of a structured programming language. Now, the simplest form of an if statement is like this: if, then there is an expression within a bracket. The brackets are mandatory, and then there is a statement. If this expression is true, only then this statement is executed, otherwise it is skipped. Like if this statement is true, it will execute this one. Sorry, pardon me. Moving on. If you want to execute more than one statement that is linked with a single if, because generally only single statement is counted, in that case we need to use something called compound statements. Compound statements are multiple statements within curly braces or second bracket, whatever you want to call them, and each of the statements themselves end with a semicolon. Now we can write them in multiple line. Generally it is written in multiple line to make them look clearer and easier for the reader to understand. And easier for the reader to understand. Anyways, so this is an example of if statement with compound, if clause with compound statement embedded within it. Now, compound statements are also used in loops in other places. We can also have an else clause linked with an if statement. If the expression within the if clause is true, only then the first statement is executed. If this expression is false, then the statement embedded within the else clause is executed, like an either or situation. In this way, we can actually get the maximum of two numbers. And we can write it also without parentheses. We can also put brackets or parentheses there. Now let us take a look at nested if statements. Nested means one if inside another if statement. So let us understand this using an example. So let's say we have three numbers, num1, num2, and num3. And first let us just scan those numbers. Well, our target is to find the maximum or the greatest of these three numbers. So let us declare another variable for this one, max. Okay, and anybody tell me, in case of like two numbers, number 1 and number 2, what we could do, compare which one of them is larger using the greater than operator, if num1 greater than num2, and then we can assign the corresponding value to max. But what do we need to do if we have three numbers, num1, num2, and num3? You can tell me. Anybody has any idea?
Yes, sir. So at first we compare the two numbers, any two numbers, then the number which is greater, we put it into max, and then we compare the third number with max. If the third number is greater than max, then we put the third number into max, otherwise the second number is the greatest number.
Okay, so this is one solution, and we can also assign max at the last, can we? Like, think of it in this way, because assigning takes time. First, we can compare two numbers, right? Num1 and num2. And then whichever of them is greater, we can compare that with max, right? If number 1 is greater, then you have said the same thing, sorry, with number 3. If number 1 is greater between number 1 and number 2, then we can compare number 1 with number 3. If number 1 is the greater one, then number 1 is the greatest. And if number 3 is the greater one, number 3 is the greatest. However, in the very first case, if number 1 is not greater than number 2, then we need to compare number 2 with number 3 to determine which one is the maximum value. Max value variable might not always be used, so that's right. But that is another way of keeping it in a variable. So let me write it like this: if num1 is greater than num2, then we would do something. Otherwise, we would do some other things. So if number is greater than number 2, what we need to do again? We need to compare number 1 with number 3 now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we can write if num1 is greater than num3. In that case, we can put the braces here or no. That's fine. Max is equal to 3. However,
Max equal to number 1.
Sorry, thank you. Max is equal to num1 plus max is equal to num. And in the other case, since number 2 is greater than number 1, we can now compare if num2 is greater than num3. In that case, max is equal to num2. Otherwise, max is equal to num3. So at the end of this whole if or if else clause chains or if else nested clauses, we would find the maximum of the numbers, right? And if the number, whatever number is the greatest, will be assigned to the variable max. And finally, we can print it out. Yes. In this case, in order to find the maximum number, we have actually used one if else clause inside another if else clause, right? So this thing is called nesting, putting the same thing under another instance of that exact thing. That's why we have used if else inside another if else. This is called nested if else. It's very commonly used in programming. We can sometimes bypass nested if else using like logical operators, like if number 1 is greater than number 2 and number 1 is greater than num3. In that case, we could write yes, number 1 is the greatest one between 2 and 3. We can bypass them using logical operators, or we can also write them in nested ways. Anyways, so do you people understand what is happening here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So anybody has any question regarding this? If they do not, then we can move on to the next topic. Yes.
So we can use if statement else then.
Sorry?
Else. So we can use else if statement in else inside else.
Yes, we can use if statement inside else as well. Inside this clause, we can not only use if else, we can do any other thing. We can do printf, we can declare a variable, though this variable won't be available outside. We can like change the values of variables. I have already assigned one. We can add any valid expression in C inside these clauses themselves, or inside these compound statements. Okay. Somebody raise their hand.
Yes, sir. I actually raised my hand. I had a question.
Yes, sure, go on.
Sir, if we actually declare a variable inside, say, an if statement or inside any other loop, so will it be available only inside the loop, or will it be available everywhere?
Yes, it will be only available inside the loop. Like, think of this as private areas for now. Anything, whenever you put the brace or whenever you are inside them, yeah, like if you declare something like this, integer x, then you can access x here. You see, integer x is there. X is also within this one. X is there. However, if I go outside and declare there's no more x, and it's previous, so if I go afterwards, like here, there is no x, right? We cannot see any x anymore. So these things are called actually scopes. If I get some more time extra, then I'll talk about the scope. There are so many topics to cover in C. Generally, for now, the rule of thumb is that whatever is declared outside, you can access them something that is nested within that scope. So this scope is nested within this scope, right?
Yes, sir.
The purple scope is nested within the yellow scope. So anything declared inside the yellow scope will be available within the purple scope. However, anything declared within this purple scope won't be available outside. Also, since this thing is declared here, this thing won't be available here as well. No, there is no x. What happens whenever you read from here, go out of this scope, this variable is actually destroyed from the memory. It is removed or it is popped out. It is put out of a calculation. Okay. Because in case of large programs, if these kind of scopes didn't work, what would happen? You would declare a lot of variables and you'll be keeping track of a lot of them at the same time, and it would cause problems. Also, remember, so yeah, no, let's not just go there. So
Thank you, sir.
anyway, so this is called unnested if statement. Okay, you see, if else and the inside and the if else, and we can also put braces if we need, because using brace makes them look cleaner. Indentation and brace to avoid confusion. Use indentation or brace to avoid confusion. And why you should use them? First, it makes the program easier to modify. That means in this like else statement, I not only want to assign num3 to max, I also want to print the event that, or print the thing that num3 was assigned. I want to add a print statement. Now, right now I cannot add it nowhere, because only this statement will be counted as a part of this else. So if I really want to assign it, first I need to put the braces down. First I need to put the braces down. and afterwards I need to say, okay, now I can write printf. So it's a bit of a hassle. That means I need to go before the statement, put the brace, go after the statement, then put the brace, and then I can add another one. So if you have already put the brace there, and in that case, it would have been easier to modify. So if you are not sure that whether you will be modifying this statement or not, in that case, keep the braces. It helps. Anyways. Also, it avoids errors of the scope. So that means we would see at an error that commonly happens, the dangling else error. So cascaded if statements. Now, this is one scenario where we have used one if else statement inside another if and else statement. In many cases, what happens, we check one value. If that is not true, we check another. If that is not true, we check another. And in that way, we go on. Like, if I want to give you a common example, let's say we have just one number. Just we are taking one number. And we want to check whether that number is negative, or whether that number is positive, or whether that number is 0. Let's say negative, 0, and positive. How would we go on to accomplish that? Like, we need to check three things, right? First, whether it is greater than 0, then whether it is equal to 0 or not. If both of these does not happen, then the number is definitely positive. So we can write it like this: if number is less than 0, in that case, printf num is negative. Else, here what we need to do, we need to put another if else condition, right? We need to check whether it is 0 or not. If it is 0, we would print it is 0, and if it is not 0, then it is not negative, then it is definitely positive. In that case, we need to print out it is positive. So if num is equal to 0, remember again, this is two equals, not a single one. Num is equal to 0, we can print it. Num is 0. Okay, so and we can then print else if num is positive. So we have one if else clause nested inside just the else clause. First, we are checking whether the number is less than 0. If it is, we are printing the number as negative. If it is not, in that case, we are checking again. First, we are checking whether the number is exactly equal to 0 or not. If it is exactly equal to 0, then the number is 0. And in all other cases, the number is actually positive, because first this one will be checked. So if the number is not negative, if the number is not 0, then the number is definitely positive. So this kind of if-else statement is called nested if-else statement. Sorry, the cascaded if-else statement. Why? We can do something like this. We know that this whole if-else clause will be treated as a single one for this else clause, single statement, since if else is a chain itself. So we can remove this bracket, put the if here. Let's remove the white spaces since they do not matter in C. And also remove these curly braces because this doesn't make any sense. The whole program is still the same. This if else belongs inside this else clause. Now if you do some formatting and print it up, now it certainly looks beautiful and clean. It looks like as if we're checking first number is less than 0, then we're checking if number is equal to 0, and if that doesn't happen, then we're doing a final default case, which is the number is positive. So first, these things are called cascaded if-else statement. Why? Because we are like cascading them one after another, after another, after another. That's why it's called cascaded if-else statement. So in this way, we can check even more. If we want to check another, and else if num is greater than 0, we can do that, and else we can print. So now we execute it. Because no number can be there which is not less than 0, not equal to 0, or not greater than 0. In this way, we can keep on cascading them as much as we want. But at the end of the day, if you take a look at them carefully, this whole if else statement is a part of this else statement, and this whole like if else clause is a part of this else clause. If I want to put bracket around them, here I'll put bracket, I'll format them. So these if else clause becomes part of it, and now I'll put another bracket. Format them. And this is actually the true form if you want to visualize it. That means first there is a if, there is a matching else. Inside that there is a if, there is a matching else, and inside that else there is an if and there is a matching else. Since this looks ugly and we can omit the brackets, we write them like this. So in this way, in C, if else is actually not a separate keyword or nothing else. Is the same thing is another if inside the else statement, but since we have omitted the brackets, now they look like a cascaded if else statement, and these things are called cascaded if else statement. By using this chain, we can check multiple conditions step by step by step. First this one, if this one is false, then check this one. If this one is false, then check this one, and if every other thing is false, then execute the final default one. We can also remove this as else statement, and that would also be fine. This will be checked. If any of them matches, only that statement will be executed and the control will jump here. So any question regarding this?
Sir,
yes.
Sir, cascaded if statement is a kind of nested if statement then, right?
Cascaded if statement is one kind of nested if statement where the nesting only happens inside the else clause, not the if clause.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So we can also write them without brackets if you want. And if you clean them up, it looks beautiful. And yes, it also avoids excessive indentation and brackets when the number of tests are large. So we can write them like this. Now, if I ask you, can you people solve this using cascaded if-else statements? Like this is the actual grade sheet of IoT, how you people will be evaluated. If you get more than 80% mark in a subject, you will get the grade A+, and you will get the grade point 4.00. So, can you people write this one if I ask you? So I'll show you a couple of steps. Okay. So let's say integer, and for now let's say the number mark is actually integer. And what we need to do, we'll use cascaded if first. I hope it is visible. So if, first what do you need to check to get A+? Can anyone tell me the condition here?
Greater or equal to 80.
Greater than equal to 80.
If mark is greater than equal to 80, then we can print grade is A+, and GP is 4.00. There are mathematical ways to do it as well. Now we do one else if, and mark is like, what would be the next condition?
Greater or equal to 75. 75 to 80.
So here's the one thing. First we check whether mark is greater than 80 or not. If it is, then we execute this statement. None of the else's in that if else chain will be executed and the control will jump right here, right? Execution. So if we have already checked that mark is greater than 80 and that condition failed, we do not need to check anymore. Like else if mark is greater than 75 and then mark is less than 80. We do not need to do that. Because we know in order for this statement to be executed, mark is already below 80. So we just need to check. So is greater than equal to 75. In that case, we print A, and we could print 3.75. And then again, we can write another else if, and mark is greater than like 70. We would write A minus, and GP is 3.5. And again, then another else if, and This one is 65, and we would print like B plus, and it would be 3.25. And afterwards, since I don't have the time to write so many things, I'll just, anyone else will be failed. A really cruel way to grade someone, but anyone else will be failed. So this is a cascaded if-else statement example. If you want, you can actually convert this whole table into this cascaded if-else statement, and the cascading will go on, else if, else if, else if. But this thing is part of this one, and then again this whole thing is part of this one, and so in this way it will continue. Okay. So now there is a problem which mainly happens when you do not use like braces. Can anybody tell me which if does this else belong to? The first if or the second if?
The first if, sir.
The first if.
Okay, so you people said it belongs to the first if, but that's where you are wrong actually, because C does not care about indentation. C does not care about spaces. Whenever you write an else statement, it looks for the nearest if statement that has not been paired with an else yet. That's why, what is the nearest if statement that has not been paired with an else yet? Is this if statement actually. So else belongs to the nearest if that has not been paired with an else. So it belongs to the second if statement. So here should be a semicolon. I forgot that. I'll write that later. So this else is a part of this if statement, not this one. If you want to correct it, there are two ways. Either one, you can use bracket. Now, whenever you're using bracket, the scope breaks. So this if is now inside this compound statement, and this thing is a single statement, not a multiple one. And in this way, when the compiler finds this else, it will match it with this one, not this one. We have broken that rule by using the braces and making it or putting it in another compound statement and inside a separate scope. Or what we could do, we could write else statement for each of the different ifs. Now, first, both of these ifs are not matched with any else yet. So this else will be matched with this if, and both of them will be matched together, and then this else will be matched with this if. Now we will take does anybody have any question regarding these topics? If not, then I'll move on to the next topic, which is the conditional operator. You can think of it kind of like a shorthand form for if, but it's mainly a small operator that would let you choose values based on condition. And it is the only ternary operator. I think, yeah, it's a ternary operator actually, the only ternary operator in C as far as I know. A ternary operator actually takes three expressions or three operands. Like a unary operator takes only one operand, like unary plus, unary minus, or the logical not symbol. A binary operator takes two operand, like plus, minus, multiplication, division. Similarly, a ternary operator, it looks a bit weird. It consists of two symbols. It takes three operands. That's why it's a ternary operator. And how does the ternary operator work? It actually first executes on this expression, and these expressions are generally logical expressions. If expression 1 is true, then expression 2 is executed and it is evaluated as the value of the whole expression. Or if this one is false, then expression 3 is executed and it is evaluated as the value of the whole expression. So what do I mean? And it can be any type. The type will just be converted. True, then expression 2. If this one is false, then expression 3. So let us take a look at an example. Again, we want to find the maximum of two numbers, num1 and num2. Let us just not scan them, we can hardcode the value. And let's also declare a variable max. What we can do first, just like anything, so we want to assign the value of max. Max equal to, first, let us ask the ternary operator, is num1 greater than num2? That is the question. We do not need to put the bracket here for now, but it's just to make the thing look clearer. Is num1 greater than num2? If it is true, if num1 is greater than num2, if this is true, in that case, num1 is the maximum. or if it is not true, in that case, num2 is the maximum. If this is true, num1 is maximum, or that's why we will return num1. If this is false, we will return num2. And in this way, if this is true, num1 will be assigned to max. If this is false, num2 will be assigned to max. Now if I just put two hardcoded values like 5, 3, and I run it, you see 5 is maximum. If I change the values, num3, 5. Now 5, still the 5 is maximum. What is happening? In case of 3, 5, is 3 greater than 5? The answer is false. That's why second statement 5 is returned. And is 3 greater than 5? In case of 5, 3, is 5 greater than 3? Yes, true. Then return 5. That's how it is working. There are also many ways. We could have like this num1 greater than num2 question mark. In that case, max is equal to num1. Otherwise, max is equal to num2. This would also work just fine. Based on that, based on this condition, either this is executed or this one is executed. Similarly, using the ternary operator, we can also compare the greatest between three numbers. How would we go on and do that? Let's do the simple assembly. Max is equal to, first we would compare between number 1 and number 2. Is num1 greater than num2? That is the question. If number 1 is greater than num2, what we did last time? We compared number 1 with number 3, right? So we will do the same thing. Is num1 greater than num3? If that is, then we return number 1, otherwise we return num3. Otherwise we compare, is num2 greater than num3? If that is the case, we return num2, otherwise we return num3. As simple as that. So this is like we can say a nested ternary operator, one ternary operator inside another ternary operator. This whole thing and this whole thing is the first ternary operator. Is num1 greater than num2? If this is true, then we will be evaluating this statement. If this is false, we'll be evaluating the second statement. If this one is true, then we'll go on evaluate. Is this one true? If this one is true, then we'll return this one. And if this one is false, then we'll return this one. Okay. And similarly, if this is false, we'll similarly evaluate this whole thing. As a result, now the whole thing works. If I run it, it is still 7. If I make it like 12, it works. However, there is some problem with ternary operator. Before going there, it has only higher precedence than the assignment operator. That is why I have put the brackets in the previous case when I was directly assigning max is equal to num inside the bracket. It has higher precedence only than the assignment operator, and it has lower precedence than all other operators so far. That's why anything that are outside, like this one itself, will be evaluated first. So they make programs shorter, but they often make them harder to understand. One of the most common, or some of the most common places where we'll actually see this kind of like ternary operator are in return statements, which directly compares whether a number is greater than or not, and they returns it. And there are like printf statements inside. Instead of writing like if I is greater than j, then print I or j. No, we can directly write printf and I is greater than j. If it is true, then we print I, and if it is false, we print j. And they're also used in macro definitions. When we take a look at macros later, then we will see how they can be used inside macro definitions. Now we would move on to switch statement. Before moving there, any of you have any question regarding this part?
Sir, is ternary operator is exactly same as if?
No, it is not exactly same as if. Like it behaves pretty much same as if, but you cannot use like compound statements here. You cannot use compound statement here to do multiple things. We cannot write printf something, and then we cannot write num1 plus no. Compound statements are not enough. You'll get an error.
Sir, is this format ever used?
Which one format?
So the Turner operator.
Yes, it's used a lot. It's used a lot. Like in simple comparisons, you see them being used a lot. Many programming languages actually have ternary operators, like all the C family language, just C, C++, C Sharp. Python has it, but in a different way. Java also has it, I think. So most programming languages actually have them, the ternary operator. And people often, like, if you really inside a function, though I haven't like dot function yet, but if you like really want to return whether I is greater than J, writing a large if statement is quite difficult. So we could just write I is greater than J, question mark, and if you want to then I actually you can just return I is greater than J, but if you want to return some other value like -1 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 based on some condition, these kind of things are really handy. Ternary operator. In those cases, ternary operators are actually used a lot.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we will take a look at switch statement and we'll try to learn by example first. So take a look at this cascaded if-else statement. Let's say our grades in IoT are only in integer numbers or whole numbers. If it is 4, excellent. If it is 3, it is good. If it is 2, it is average. If it is 1, it is poor. And if it is 0, it is failing. And we cannot have any other grades other than these ones defined here. That's why any other grade will be considered as illegal grade. So this is done using a cascaded if-else statement, and if you have understood the things that I have taught in the previous few slides, this should be pretty clear, right? We are comparing the value of grade. If this one is true, excellent. Otherwise, check this one. Otherwise, check this one. Otherwise, check this one, and so on. Now, this looks a bit ugly. We are writing so many operators. We are comparing them one by one, and it becomes clumsy. It becomes a bit difficult. This will only work for matching exact integral values or integer numbers. We can actually convert it to something called a switch case or switch statement. Here how it works. Here we want to compare the value of the variable grade, right? Inside switch, we will write grade. It means we want to match the value of grade with some predefined values. What are the predefined values? We call them cases. Case 4, if grade is 4. If grade is 3, if grade is 2, if grade is 1, if grade is 0. So, if grade is 4, print excellent, break. For now, ignore the break part. We will discuss break after some slides. If grade is 4, print excellent. If grade is 3, print good. If grade is 2, print average. If grade is 1, print poor. If grade is 0, failing. And what does default do? If the grade does not match any of the previously stated cases, in that case, the default case will be executed. That's like a fail-safe. If nothing matches, then do this one. Printf illegal grade. Okay. So that's how, or that's the structure of a switch statement. Now, if I just copy it. We can run it. And let's say we go to the type 3, it pays good. Excellent. And if we write any other value, it pays illegal grade. If you write any other value, it pays illegal grade. That's how it works. So match grade. If it is 4, print excellent. If it is 3, print good. If it is 2, print average. If it is 1, print poor. Otherwise, if it is 0, print failing. Any other grade are illegal grades. Now, why do we use switch statements? Because in many cases, they're actually easier to read than cascaded if statements, and they're actually easier to write if you're matching exact values. Often faster than if statements. It depends on what you're trying to do, and in cases they actually might be faster, like code-wise or program-wise. While running, the running time might be faster than if statements. The common form of switch statement is like this. Inside the switch, we have the control expression, which generally evaluates to a variable, like the grade here. So for now, you do not know about any like expression that can evaluate to a variable. So for now, just think that they will be just variables, pure variables here, like grade, the value of which we want to match. And then There are constant expressions and statements. What happens if the controlling expression matches with the constant expression, then that matching statements or statements generally are executed. And also remember one thing, in case of the case parts in switch statement, you do not need to put any curly braces. Those are not necessary. Write whatever you want here. You can also print if the radius you can also do that if you like. It's absolutely fine. Write how many lines you want. We can also increase the grade by 1. Why not? Okay, so we can do anything we like here. As many statements we want to put, they will be sequentially executed, and we do not need to put these curly braces here. So the controlling expression must be an integer and enumerable expression. Enumerable expressions, we'll take a look at them later if we get time. So these are also in simple layman word, they need to be integers. In C, characters like these are like characters in C. We will discuss them later, like A or like capital A, it can be said, or things like that. Even 9, this 0, this is character 0, not the actual 0, like Y, but only one letter. If you use multiple letters, then there needs to be a string like this, but only one character. These are called characters. Characters are actually represented using equivalent number or integer inside. So that's why characters, for now, just remember characters are integers. Like if I hover over them, this is actually an integer. This is actually an integer. This is actually an integer. The compiler converts them to integer. So characters are actually integers in C. Enumerable types are also integers. We'll take a look at them later. So controlling expression, or this thing, or this variable here, can only be integer. It cannot be float. It cannot be string. It can only be integer. Floating point numbers and strings are not allowed. The constant expressions. So constant expressions are pretty much like normal expressions that we have discussed so far. However, then you need to be able to determine their value in compile time. That means they can only contain constants. Like case 4, we can write it as case 2 plus 2. The compiler at the compile time will make it 4. It is absolutely fine. Case 2 plus 2. It is fine. We can define a preprocessor constant, define 2 as 2, and we can write it like 2 plus 2. This is actually equivalent to just writing 2 plus numerical 2. So that also works. It is absolutely fine. However, we cannot do something like integer 2 is equal to 2, and then we cannot write 2 plus. This will not work. This will actually throw an error. Expression must have a constant value. And we also in C, we cannot use normal like compiler constant like this. No, this will also not work. Expression must have a constant value. So this type of codes will not work. In some other languages like C, there is something else which we can use, but C++ we have something else that we can use, but I will not discuss it here. So case 2 plus 2, this is fine. Case 2 plus macro 2, macro constant 2, it is fine. But you cannot use constant like normal variables like this, or like constant variables using the compiler constant variable like this. That is also not allowed. So also in the similar way, we cannot also use like a function calls here. Like what if you want to do a square root of like 9? Let's say for now our square root only returns integer. This will also not work. Like we cannot also write like ABS of like -2. This will also not work. Only constant values are allowed. Function calls is not allowed in a constant expression. That is one rule that you need to follow. Ibuprofen is not allowed given in is a variable. Character returns are acceptable. Why? Because they are constants. I can write it like case 4 plus A. This is actually fine. So this is again another integer. The value is 97. Moving on, and the statements are these things that you put inside. Any number of statements are allowed. no braces are required around the statement, and generally the last statement is a break statement. We'll discuss it. So some rules: duplicate case levels are not allowed. That means if we have already 2 here, I cannot put 2 here, right? Let me write 2 and we'll see an error here. Case level value has already appeared in this switch statement at line number 14, so it's not allowed. We cannot put duplicate statement, and I cannot also do it like 0 plus 2, no, because it evaluates to 2. See, duplicate. The order of cases does not matter. That means whether I put it like this, let me just make it normal, or if I want to put case 4 after case 3, it would also be fine. There's no problem. First, in this way, the system will first try to match it with 3. If it does not match, then it will try to match with 4. If it does not match, then it will might try to match with 2. In this way, it will go on. But whichever way you put, it does not matter. And if you put the default one at first, it is fine. Default one are actually like preserved by the compiler, so the default one will not be executed immediately. Generally, you see. So excellent. However, -1 illegal grade. So order doesn't matter. In case of default one, the system remembers, okay, this was my default, so let me just try non-default values first. Check non-default values first. Is if none of them matches, then I will execute the default code here. Okay. Several case levels may precede the same group of statements. We will take a look at that. Now, what will happen if we write like this? Case 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, printf passing, printf failing, and then break. Let us discuss what the break statement does first. In case of break statement, it actually does what it says. It actually breaks. How does it break? Switch cases are something called controlled jumps. Are they called controlled jumps? If I just actually put restore to normal so that it is easier to understand. So what happens if the value of grade matches with the value 4? The control jumps to this part here. It executes this statement, prints it out, then it takes a look at the break statement. When it takes a look at the break statement, it jumps out of the control again and moves to the next part, that is after the whole switch statement. If we haven't put the break here, let us just remove all the breaks. What would happen is called a fall through effect. Let's say our grade matches the value 4. It will print excellent. However, it will not stop and go out. It will go inside the next level, print good. It will go inside the next one, print average. It will go inside the next one, it will print poor. It will go inside the next one, print failing. After that, it sees a break statement. Now it knows it needs to break. In that case, it will break and it will go out. If I run this code and put the value like 3, it will see, it will start printing from good. Good, average, poor, failing. Only after that it encountered a break. If I had put a break here, it will stop right after printing good, average, poor. Okay. Good, average, poor. If I want to start from like average, I could put the value 2 and average, poor. If I put the value 4, excellent, good, average, poor. There's a black selection here. That's why it's printing like that. That's how it's working. It's called falling or it's like fall through effect is called. And these things are called case labels. Whenever the value matches with a label, it enters there and it keeps on executing downward or sequentially. It keeps on executing downward or sequentially until it finds a break statement. That's how switch cases work. If I remove all the breaks from here, happen. If I enter the value 4, excellent, good, average, poor, failing, illegal, great. And if I just put an illegal value like that value, just print the illegal, because it would just execute from here. And also, the default case of switch cases is not mandatory. If I like remove the default case, then compile it and then run it and put an illegal value, what will happen? None of these cases will match and the control will simply jump out here. It simply jumps out and nothing happens because it just jumps out here, it returns 0 and the thing is done. That's why we generally put the break statement here. However, sometimes not putting the break statement can actually be intentional. Let's say for it's commenting out that there's basically nothing between them. For the grade 4321, you are actually passing, and then I will break, and for other grade, you are failing. For the clarity of understanding, I will actually move this. For now, what will happen? If the value of grade is matched with 4, it will enter here. It will keep on executing. It will print passing, and then it will break. If it matches with the value 3, it will enter here, keep on executing. It will print the value passing. It will break. However, if you like put the value 0, it will checking. It will keep on checking here. Doesn't match. Doesn't match. Doesn't match. Doesn't match. Matches. Print failing. Then we break. And if none of the values match any of these, what will happen? All these 5 won't match. It will go inside the default section and it would print illegal grade and then it will break. Okay, moving on. We can also put several case levels in a single line. The effect is same. It just looks cleaner like this. Exactly same thing. If the default case is missing and controlling expression is false, that means it doesn't match in none of them, control passes to the next statement after switch. That means after this one, it jumps here. And this is the definition of break. Cause the program to break. And anything after the level gets executed as long as there is no break. There is no break. 3, good, average 4, failing, illegal grade. Sometimes we intentionally omit breaks like we have done here. So for case 4321, we actually want to increase the number of passing. However, for all the cases, we also want to increase total checked. That's why there is no break here. The absence of break here is actually intentional. However, if you do not put comments like this, one person might come after you, another developer, see the statements like this and think that, okay, since he has not put, or since he or she, the developer has not put case 0 with case 1 here and not doing it, he might have done something wrong. So let me put a break here. If he or she puts a break there, then the whole program will bug out. It will actually be wrong. And then it will not give the results properly. So that's why when you intentionally omit break, which can cause confusion, remember to put a comment so that someone else, whenever someone else other than you checks the code, will understand, okay, this was done intentionally. Generally, this thing is called fall through. Okay. So this is the final slide that we'll check. So in this case, we can actually we can use switch cases to convert some numerical value to like I've forgotten what are those called, like first, second, third. There is a proper term for it. Like nominal. Ordinal, right? Ordinal, cardinal, things like that. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so what we want to do, we want to enter it like this in format. So let us try this example. Okay. For now, let me just show you how to compare the data. So we want to scan the day. So print as enter day. I'm going to scan day. And what we'll do, we'll write the switch case of day. So which days do we call with like first, second, third? So which days do you call with ST in a month? Which days end with ST? Can anyone tell me? Like this is like normally. What are the numbers after which we put ST to make them like order?
1, 1.
Not only 1. First, 21st, 31st. Remember, inside a month, 21st, 31st, and 1st. So we can put it like case 1, case 21, and case 31. In that case, we can print a value followed by a AST. So we can put it here. And which ones we call ND, like second and 20-second, right? There is no 30-second. So we put 2 and case 22 and %B ND, okay, and there's also third, so we can write case 3. There's only 23rd, no 33rd, so 23. Like this, second, third, and for any other day, we will just print TH, right? 4th, 5th, 21st. So %TH. Okay. So I've forgotten the backslash n again, like the previous class, so I'll just put the backslash n at the end. So if I compile and run this program, if I put 1, it prints first. If I put like 21, it also prints 21st. If I print like put like 23, it prints 23rd. And if I put any other value like 4th, like 15, 15th. Okay, this is how this whole thing is working. It is converting the value of like this nominal integer or whatever numerical value to like first, second, third integers. Okay. So in the same way, like we can take the 12 months and for them we can print out like case 1, case 2, case 3, like January, February, March, April, May. And we can actually convert this whole day, like this input, the underline means it's the input, to a form like this, dated this 19th day of July 2020 or 2021. I should have put 21 here. We have gone 1 year in the past. So yeah, try this example out for yourselves. Okay, so yeah, that's all. So anybody have any question about today's class?
We can only use integers.
Sorry, I'm not getting you.
We can only use integers in switch one.
Yeah,
Only
yes.
integers.
We can use only integers inside case. Yes, we cannot use range. We cannot use floating point number. We cannot use strings. We can only use integers in their raw form. Okay, we cannot.
Negative number 2.
Yeah, negative number is fine as well. You can put -4. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine. You can put negative number. Anything that is an integer. Anything that you can store inside the integer variable. For now, think of it just that way. Anything you can inside the integer variable, you can actually put it here.
Sir, can we use the case statement for characters?
Yes, characters are integers. Just like I have told you, characters are integers. Like A is actually an integer. Take a look at this. It is equivalent to integer 97. What happens in C or in any other programming languages, each of the characters or letters are assigned a number. In this case, we are using ASCII values. We'll discuss it elaborately later. So that's why it is actually underneath an integer, nothing else. Computers do not understand ABCD, EFG. They can only understand numbers. That's why every character that you encounter is actually an integer. And like enter date, this is a collection of integer. Like E is an integer, N is an integer, T is an integer, and they are kept sequentially one after another. So in these cases, we call them array of integers. Yes.
So is there any way to check float or double numbers using the case statement?
No. For now, no. Let's say no. But let's say we can do some cheating. We are dealing with currencies only. We are dealing with currencies like taka or dollars, things like that only. You know that in case of currency, the value will never exceed 2 decimal points, right? We generally do not do that. So what we can do, if you really want to use switch cases with them, we can multiply them by 10. We can multiply them by 10. What will happen? It will become 3134, right?
Yes, sir.
And it will also have like 0.00 afterwards, and then we can actually convert them to integer. Just take the integral part, it will become 3134, and then we can use the switch. The question is, why do we want to do that? In that case, just use a if statement. And also, why does not floating point numbers work with switch cases? Remember, switch needs to perform exact matches, and floating point numbers are a little bit pesky to deal with. So in the lab experiments, you might have seen that in different computers, the results are slightly different. Like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 8 in someone, and in other computer, the result might be 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 7, 9. You can like decrease this range of error by taking a variable that is more precise, like double. But after some point, there will be some error. Computers are not completely perfect. That's why the main reason of switch case is to do direct matching and direct jumps. And those kind of matchings are not always done properly in cases. In many cases, like even in this is just like an extra section. You do not need to remember it. Let's say we have a game. We're writing a game, and there are like 2 players, and each of them have some health points. We're representing using floats. Health point 1 and health point 2. Or let's say we have a player and which has just one health point 1, and the value is between 0.0f to 1.0f. That's the range of the value for health point 1. When the character reaches like the health 0, we want to kill the character in the game. And whenever the character takes a hit, we decrement the value by 0.5 float. What happens if you want to check the value of HP, like after taking hit 2 times, you might not find. So first of all, how do we check whether the character is dead or not? We can take something like this, right? If HP1 equal to 0.0f, I mean equal to 0.0f, then we can print like printf the character. There is. I can print like this. This can actually fail. That means in each hit, the character loses 0.5 HP. After 2 hits, in most cases, the character will actually not die. Why? The value of the float, after subtracting 0.5 2 times, you will see that the value is not actually 0. It is something like 0.000001 or 00012, something like this. So it's not actually 0. So this condition will not trigger. So what can we do? In that case, you will actually see conditions like this. If HP is greater than equal to like something like 00001, where the developer knows whatever, in that case the player is dead. It looks weird, but that's how you deal with floating point numbers in programming languages. So yeah, it's an extra section you do not need to remember for those who actually wanted to know why like floats are not exactly matched in these cases. But some other high-level programming languages which do a lot of management underneath, as a result, which are also a bit slow. In that case, not only you can match integers inside cases, you can match floats, you can match strings, you can match types, you can match whatever you want inside cases. In those programming languages, like in C#, you can match whatever you want. Even in Python recently introduced switch case. I have never tried it, the switch cases in Python. So yeah, anyways, so you can do those. So that's why if you're dealing with floating point numbers or like strings, stick with ifs. And this thing, it might help you someday. Remember this little trick. Like I was like writing a game of my own, and I also made the mistake of like putting like equal to 0 here. And the characters were, or the players were actually dying. The problem is that they were not dying at the hit they should die. They were dying after the hit. Or like you can also put, it's better to put like less than equal to 0. So instead of putting, I mean, if they were supposed to be dead in 3 hits, they were dying in 4 hits. Why? Because after 3 hits, instead of the health being 0.000, it was actually being like 0.001. And maybe after the 4th hit, the health was in the negative section. That's why the player was dying in the 4th hit, not in the 3rd hit. So if that happens, remember to put something like this. A value that you know that normally would not occur and is actually close to dead, and you need to do those kind of tricks. Anyways, any more question?
Yes, sir. I had another question, sir. Are strings considered integers as well?
Strings are considered a collection of integers. Let's say we want to print ABC in a string, right? So A, let us just take the value of ABC. This is 63, 64, 65. A, B, C. We will discuss strings later as well, don't worry. So A is 65, I forgot to put the string here. A is 65, B is 66, C is 67, 65, 66, 67. So if that is a string, they're actually kept like this: 65, 66, 67. There's also a 0 in the end. We'll discuss this later if you want to keep it as a string. So what does it say? The first character is A, second character is B, third character is C. So enter date. You're seeing this string here. That is basically a collection of integer that are kept sequentially in your memory or in your RAM. Like first one being 69, E is 69. Yes, it's 69. Yes. Then there will be a like equivalent integer for N. If you just convert a character to integer and print it, yeah, that is 110. Then T. Then they are just sequence of numbers, nothing more than that. Everything is number, nothing more.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So can
Any other
you
question?
use strings in the case statement?
You cannot. The case statement requires to match exactly one integer, and the string is a collection of integer, right?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So now, whatever I am saying is a really high level knowledge because you have just started. Some of you might know it. There's something called hashing. Hashing actually converts one value to another, and it's generally a one-way calculation. You can perform hashing on strings to convert them to like non-colliding integer and then compare them actually. So you just hear some like words. Some of you might actually understand it, very few of you, and others will not. But there are like tricks and ways to achieve those kind of things. You will learn about hashing most probably in like your second year in like algorithm course, no, data structure course maybe data structure and algorithm course. And then after you go to your fourth year, there is a course called advanced algorithm. You will learn hashing there. You should learn hashing there. So in this way, when you learn hashing, you will understand what actually happens and you can do it. And hashings are also required for security purposes. So if you're like interested in course things like system security and then network security, in those cases, hashing will be like a common part of your daily life. But there are ways. To be honest, like if you're dealing with those values, doing things like that directly, you in most cases won't be programming in like C or C++. C or C++ are generally picked for high performance, high speed reasons. And talking with the operating system, you'll be using a high level language like Java, C#, or maybe in case of server programming, you might be using Node.js or like JavaScript JS or like Python or things like that. And those can directly do the things for you. Like in other programming languages, just like you're comparing like integers using this operator, you can actually compare is like ABC equal to like ABC. In higher programming languages, you can check that. Even in C++, you can check it, but even in C, it's not valid. So why is it not showing me any error there? The system in the runtime actually thinks of it as both C and C++. So that's why it's not showing any error. And it might actually try to match pointers. So yeah, it might. So yeah, this thing is actually not okay. It will not check whether both of the things are same or not. So this thing is not allowed in C. But other programming languages allow them. So you need to choose your programming language based on your necessity, whatever you're doing. Just like people won't do competitive programming generally in like Java, people won't make like a graphical user interface GUI application using like C in most cases, unless it's a very high performance application, like a game engine or something like Photoshop or things like that, or the operating system itself. Okay. Any more question? Okay, if there is none, in that case, I will take the attendance for today. Let me stop the presentation. Today is like 15 July. Who is Adit? Shahriar Rashid Khan Sifat.
Present, sir.
Abu Jawad Mohammad Ridwan Hussain.
Present, sir.
Arafat Hussain Amjar, he is absent. Tausif Kashwa Dikto.
Present, sir.
Asif Abrar,
Present, sir.
Asif Mohammad Fahim, Asif Mohammad Fahim, Jarin Taslim Ridi.
Present, sir.
Okay, just do one thing. If any of you have problem with or issues with your mic, write in the chat, and whenever write your name and ID in the chat, and whenever that person's slot comes, one of your friends or maybe the seer can give the present on behalf of that. Fahim Abrar, you're present. I gave you entry. Chaudhary Blossom Ibn Razak.
Yes, sir.
Fardin Fayaz,
Present, sir.
Labib Muntasir,
Present, sir.
Mohammad Ihsanul Haq,
Present, sir.
Tanbir Chaudhary, Mohammad Tanbir Chaudhary, Adrian Bashir,
Present, sir.
Istikar Jaman Ifti,
Present, sir.
Mohammad Naim Mubashir Moni,
Present, sir.
Labiba Nawad,
Present, sir.
Aziz Amin Yasser Alam,
Present, sir.
Awaja Ishma Marian,
Present, sir.
Akif Kaisar,
Present, sir.
Radib bin Kabir,
Present, sir.
Yusuf Ibn Kamal Niloy,
Present, sir.
Iftar Alam Siam,
Present, sir.
Mehdi Ahmed,
Present, sir.
Abdullah,
Present, sir.
Muktashir Ibn Amin,
Present, sir.
Muhtasimul Doha,
Present, sir.
Maruf Ahmed,
Present, sir.
Samnun Asfar,
Present, sir.
Amisa Zaman Ozi,
Present, sir.
Mahaja bin Tawassum, Mahaja bin Tawassum, Mohammad Tamim Sarkar,
Present, sir.
Adia Sultana,
Present, sir.
Shadman Nahian. Okay, he hasn't been present in any classes. Meherin Kazin,
Present, sir.
Sadiq Salman,
Present, sir.
Muqtasim Kamal Dihan,
Present, sir.
Mohammad Jannatul Samaruk,
Present, sir.
Mufikur Rahman,
Present, sir.
Saima Sikul Muna,
Present, sir.
Sajid Hossain,
Present, sir.
Nahin F. Siddiqui,
Present, sir.
Anvir Hossain Dihan,
Present, sir.
Shamia Shahrin
Present,
Divana,
sir.
Shoaib bin Hassan,
Present, sir.
Zarif Safwan Haq,
Present, sir.
Safwan Saqib,
Present, sir.
Ayan Ilham,
Present, sir.
Amim Ahmed,
Present, sir.
Anvir Ahmed Tanmoy,
Present, sir.
Abdul Alam Sadi is absent. Tanvir Hassan Ananto,
Present, sir.
Munzir Mahmud,
Present, sir.
Amin Arafat,
Present, sir.
Fasa Lutfi Sebania,
Present, sir.
Arsalan Waqif Shah,
Present, sir.
sir.
Idris Farash,
Present, sir. Present.
Penda, you joined the class, I've seen that. Abdul Halim Hadaroni,
Present, sir.
Alamuddin, he was also present. Anyways, okay. So anybody that has written in the chat and that I have missed, I will
114, sir.
Okay, I will call the name, and one of you on behalf of the persons whose mics are not working. 07 Asif Mohammad Fahim. Okay, he is absent. 14 Mohammad Tanbir Chaudhary.
Present, sir.
He is present. And Mahajabi Tawassum.
So she is having net problem. She can't join the class.
Did she join earlier?
Yes, sir. But
Yes,
she
sir.
left because the net got disconnected.
Did she join earlier? The question is, did she join earlier?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. this would do. Okay, so I have like a couple of questions for you. So first of all, you people asked far few questions than the other section. So there could be two things or a couple of things. One, I know that some of you already know, so those are out of question. You people can go away. Okay, so one thing can happen. Yes, sir, Hadaruni, your present is. Yeah, Hadaruni, your present is given. Okay. First of all, it can happen that you people are actually better than the other section, or like with the previous knowledge of C, which can actually happen, and you people that's why are asking this question or having this problem. Two, there could be like a problem called groupthink. That means your majority or a large number for you actually knows C better than others, and that's why due to them other people are not asking questions. Another thing can happen that you people are getting hold of the video of the other section of the previous class, and I think I didn't even give them the video of the previous classes till now. And you're watching them, or you people might be reading from the book at an early stage. So I don't know. So whatever, if you have any question, I would actually encourage you to ask them. Okay. If you think that your friends know and that's why you should not ask, that's not okay. If you have any question in your mind, go on and ask them. The class is for you.
I have a question.
Yes, I'm sure.
Sir, earlier today you were saying that indentation in C doesn't care about the indentation.
Yes.
So does it mean that C cares about what comes after an statement?
Yes, C processes them sequentially. You will see that in programming language C, there are like curly braces and like semicolons to end on a statement. So C only looks at those things sequentially, step by step, and then processes them.
Oh,
But
okay,
some programming languages actually do not have like this kind of blocks, like curly braces or like semicolons. If you see like Python, why I'm speaking so much about Python, because you will definitely be familiar with Python when you get to like third year or fourth year, like for like data analytics and those kind of things, machine learning and other like buzzword topics with buzzwords, those kind of things. You definitely need Python, and in Python there's no semicolon, there's no curly braces, nothing like that. Everything depends on indentation only. So in those kind of languages, indentation matters. In C, it doesn't matter. If you write the whole C program in a single line, it would still work.
Yes, sir. My confusion was that the Python, when we code in Python, Python actually gets
Python is completely different lines.
Yes, sir.
But in C, that doesn't matter.
Yes, sir. I was quite confused about that. Thank you, sir.
So I would like to, like, this is a personal request. I just find that some of you are actually checking out my profiles on different social media and like maybe Facebook, LinkedIn. It's completely fine. However, I would like to do you a request that please do not send a friend request until at least the first semester. That goes for like any teacher. You're my students, so that's fine. You can definitely send me friend request if you want, but try to like send it after the semester or after course it's over. Always remember that. Because if you need to contact me, you can definitely contact me on like via Gmail, or I'll try to put up the Discord server after some training. I was really busy with other tasks, so yeah, it is fine. Try to do it afterwards. And if you have any question regarding me, like me, if you want to know any question, like why am I taking even this course, you can definitely ask me.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Yes, Arsalan. Walaikum assalam.
Sir, if you get your number, sir, it will be better for us to contact you rather than to contact
you. Okay, I will give my number later because the official way is not to actually give phone calls. The official way, whenever you go to any task, is via mailing.
So, sir, I'm not talking about the phone call. If we get your number and we text you in a WhatsApp. So
WhatsApp is not actually official, because whenever you are sending me mail, via the Gmail, actually these are all keeping traces of the things that are being done. This is an organizational mail. Why are all of you asked to use IoT mail? Why do you think? Since this is the first semester, we are letting you use your personal mail addresses, but right after this semester, maybe in the after middle, you'll get a notice that you cannot use your personal emails anymore. You'll be kicked out from like your Google Classrooms and other places. because whenever you send me any mail, if it is not your IoT mail, I actually get a notification that this is actually from an external source, not the original one. Yes, Tanvir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, Tanvir Sanamanto. I'm not hearing anything. You have a question?
No, sir.
Okay. So if none of you have any question, you can actually leave for today.
Sir, I had a problem.
Yes, Sakif.
So the problem was that on the third lab, I didn't upload the C files following the naming format, sir. Will it be a problem?
It will be a problem for me while checking. It will just give me a little bit of pain because I need to search through them to find the proper file. But no, it won't be a problem. But try to do not make my life harder.
No, sir. I just didn't notice the
It's fine.
instructions.
It's fine. It's fine. From the next labs, you don't need to follow the instruction. Are the files properly named according to tasks?
Yes, sir. Not the numberings, but the names are proper.
If the name is proper, then it is fine. I can find it easily.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. You people can take your leave. Go say your prayer. Eat your lunch.
Thank you, sir.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Welcome, Assalam.
Advance Eid Mubarak, sir.
Yeah. That's all right. Sorry. Yeah. Advance is one more thing. I forgot we do not have any class before the Eid. Eid Mubarak to everyone. Have a great day.
Eid Mubarak, sir.
Eid Mubarak, sir.
Eid Mubarak, everyone.
Sir, can I say something?
Yes, sure. Tanvir.
Sir, actually, sorry, I checked your profile.
No. I know you checked my profile in LinkedIn. It's absolutely fine. Checking profile is fine.
Yeah.
I said that just hold off till sending friend requests till the first semester. It's just not only for me. It's for all the teachers. It's like a convention that when you're taking course of some teacher, you do not send that friend request to that teacher directly. You wait till the course is over. And then you send the friend request.
Actually, I checked on LinkedIn for some project they have done. Actually, I checked all of the teachers' LinkedIn. Actually.
Okay, so yeah, some people post a lot in LinkedIn. I personally am not much active in social media.
Okay, sir.
So you won't see any post of mine in LinkedIn. You'll just see a profile, I think, which also hadn't been uploaded till then. So you'll also not see that I'm not a teacher of IoT there. I have updated it now. I'm a teacher of IoT there. It is fine. Checking is fine. And LinkedIn be like sometimes they like to tell you, hey dude, this person checked your profile. This person checked your profile. So LinkedIn do that kind of things.
Do you have any open project in GitHub?
I'll give my GitHub later. Okay. But what kind of project are you expecting from me? Most of the projects that I work on with some other people, they are generally kept private. So if you're looking for
anything, I checked on Fahim Shakur GitHub, and there was lab project and first year, second year, third year project. He just put everything there.
The track that I chose in IoT is actually a bit different. I work with computer graphics, game engines, and games, things like that. Don't go and speak these things publicly, please. So as I work with those, you know that you cannot directly put a game engine project in GitHub that much easily because they're quite complex. You can keep the course there, but whenever I work with them, I generally work with teams. So as a result, I, in most cases, personally do not own the projects. But if you really need some projects, or whenever you face them, you can knock me later on. Because I told you, after the first semester, you can contact me. After the second semester, it is fine. So you can just ask me, and in that case, I might be able to provide you with what I have done or some other stuff. It seems like all the high-level programmers of the universities actually know each other, and I think Fahim Shakur Bhai is quite a famous figure in Bangladesh, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he is quite famous. He's a great man.
Okay, assalamualaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam. Walaikum assalam. Eid Mubarak.